Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to talk about commercial property tenant credit scoring. In order to buy a commercial property, you need to put a lot of thoughts and understanding about the tenant, and this one is going to help you to understand the weightage of the tenant or their credit scoring, because if the tenant is strong, then the likelihood of they are going to take the lease forward, or in other words, they are going to renew their lease. And if they renew their lease, of course, they are going to keep on doing business there, which means they will pay rent, which means you are making money, which means as an investor you are getting cash flow as you are moving forward with your money. So let's start of understanding the credit scoring. When you want to buy a commercial property, as I said, that you focus on the tenant. Now, first thing is that you see that how the tenant is making money. How do you credit score? If the tenant itself is like a ASX listed tenant or like ASX listed company, then you already know that their credit scoring would be stronger, right? That is always not true, because just because they're ASX listed client, of course, they've been doing the business for long, they have a bigger cash flow and they have a big team and all sort of things. You also need to know is that what business they are in. If you know what business they are in, then that can give you an idea about if the business is going or moving forward or is moving backward. Now, at the time of recording, there are so many different businesses where you need to understand about their credit scoring. So the tenant, how strong is the tenant? That gives you, it's a AAA rating, a AA rating, or B plus, B minus rating. So you can put this rating like that, and you can say, yeah, based on this tenant is a AAA rating. And an example would be, let's say, if your tenant is McDonald's, or if your tenant is KFC, or Guzman Gomez, Burger King, all this food chain, then of course the credit rating or tenant rating is going to be quite high. Versus if you know somebody who is like Bob's Fish and Chips, their tenant credit rating would be less, because the Bob's Fish and Chips is perhaps only one location. Then once you know that the tenant, then you see their cash flow, like how much money they are making. And that's a very important point. Remember, if the tenant is making money, or if they are making profit from that premise, from the location, then there is always a chance that they are going to continue and they are going to renew the lease, and that gives a strong rating. Versus if their tenant is not making money or just breaking even or even losing money drastically, then that rating will go significantly down. Now, how do you know? One of the things that you do is you ask. First thing is that at the time of purchasing, you put that a clause called due diligence, and you talk to the tenant, which you call tenant interview. In that interview, ask that what's happening, how much money do you make, how many customers do you serve. There are different ways. Now, they don't have to tell you, but there are ways that you can ask this question and you get information, because people love talking. And if you create a relationship with them and you say that, hey, I'll be the new owner, I would love to help you, and to understand that what's happening, how much money you are making, is there a way that we can help to improve further. So basically you are on to tapping into and knowing that way, asking them. There are other ways also, that you do the comparison study, how many customers do they serve, what's happening in that area, whether the population growth and in that area, and basically kind of gauge into those information. But the goal is to know whether they're making money or not. If they're making money, that means is the rating is going to go high. If they're breaking even, the rating is going to be go little lower than that. If they're losing money, they will go even drastically. And if they are like the money is losing like seriously, they're probably in 3 months time they will be saying that, sorry, I'm not able to pay rent, because no business can survive without the cash flow. Next point is that knowing about that location itself. So although the tenant is losing money, in tenants credit scoring is like, okay, if they move out, what's going to happen to the new tenant? So that way you can put together, which is not directly attributed to this tenant but is overall with the tenancy, is the location factor as well. So you put together that as well and put that score that, yeah, based on that score should go up. Or no, if they move out, I'm going to have a strong difficulty of getting a replacement tenant. So the tenant credit scoring will go even further down. Now, what we are trying to do is kind of a gauge into a number, which then we can compare with other tenants. You will be able to, measure and be able to decide that whether we can go ahead to buy this property or not. And this is exactly we we do as a commercial property buyer agent, we do this credit scoring so that we know what's happening, what is the strong point of this tenant, and whether we should go ahead to buy this property or not. You want to buy, make sure that you put focus on the tenant, you put focus on that tenant credit score, and the more and more you can understand, more and more you see that that credit score goes up, is a strong point for you to go ahead and buy that property. I hope it gives you some idea and trigger points about knowing tenants credit scoring, because most people don't look into these things. Most people buy blindly, and once they buy, then just say, oh, the tenant credit score is quite low, hence they should not have bought this property, although the lease is stronger, but other factors actually negating this fact, and this property is not lucrative enough. They bought a wrong property. So doing this credit scoring is important part, and I'm sure that you understood that now, and you're going to do these things when you're planning to buy a commercial property. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.